Hi, my name is Hope Dalvay, and I am the author of Welcome to Can't Fill in the Blank. It's a middle grade novel about a 14-year-old girl named Paige who was sent to Prince Edward Island to take care of her younger cousins for the summer. And it's about the misadventures that they have in the backyard. And to make things interesting, Paige turns the backyard into a camp, and each week of the camp has a different theme. But of course, things don't always go to plan. And so I thought it would be fun to answer some questions about the book, and I'll try to make my answers as spoiler-free as possible. Okay, so I'll get right to it. So, why is Paige's name spelled without the letter I? As an author, that seems rather cruel of me to spell her name without the letter I. But I have my reasons. When I was writing the first book, I knew that I wanted to write a sequel. And in the sequel, there's a problem with her name because of the spelling. So that's why I spelled Paige without the letter I. But as a parent, I don't recommend doing this. Okay, so the next question. Why is Paige living in Saudi Arabia at the beginning of the book? Well, I thought it would be more interesting if Paige didn't actually know her younger cousins that well. And so I thought, she has to be from a faraway place, and Saudi Arabia is far, far away from Prince Edward Island. But why Saudi Arabia? Well, my husband and I used to live in Saudi Arabia for about 5 years, so I know what it's like to live there. And so all the little details in the first 2 chapters of the book are from our life experience in Saudi Arabia. So all that information is accurate. And the only things that I made up were the characters, of course, and the situations that they get into. Okay, next question. What's in a name? Everything. I think one of the most fun part about writing is coming up with the themes for the characters. And so the next question. Why are Paige's cousins named Crusoe and Danger Robinson? Well, as you probably know, there's a famous book called Robinson Crusoe, and it's about a man who's marooned on a deserted island. And in a lot of ways, Paige and her younger cousins are marooned in the backyard. So I thought it would be cool if their last name was Robinson. And I thought the older boy could be called Crusoe. And then the younger boy, I named Danger. And of course, Danger is a cool name and sets up a lot of problems in the book, which I thought would be fun. And, okay, why is the boy next door named WMD? Okay, so the book is set in the summer of 2003, and during that time the Iraq War had started, and weapons of mass destruction was all in the news. And I thought it would be kind of interesting to name a character WMD for that time period. Okay, the next one. Why is Paige's best friend named DeLorean? DeLorean for short. That seems to be a kind of odd name. Well, the reason is I'm a big Back to the Future fan. And here is our very own DeLorean. So I couldn't help myself. And that's the only reason why I called her DeLorean. Or DeLorean for short. Okay, this one's an important question. Why is the camp in the backyard called Camp Fill in the Blank? Well, Camp Fill in the Blank was not my first choice. Okay, so I had some other names in mind. First of all, Camp Imagination. I thought that would be a great name. Camp Whatever. Camp Anything. And Camp Whatchamacallit. Unfortunately, whenever I looked them up on the internet, those names were already taken by actual summer camps. And so I had to come up with something else, and I finally came up with Camp Fill in the Blank, which suited the camp because there was a different theme each week. So Camp Fill in the Blank, that's how it happened. Okay, so in chapter 5, the kids find buried treasures in the backyard. How did I choose these items? Okay, so the story's set in 2003, so I knew I wanted to make the treasures old, from the past. So I thought the 1980s. I'm familiar with the 1980s. I grew up in the 1970s and the 1980s. I was thinking, oh, the 1980s, that would be cool. And so I thought, How about some toys from the 1980s, some iconic toys? Okay, so I'm about to spoil the book a little bit, but I couldn't help myself. So can you think of 3 iconic toys from the 1980s? Okay, so these are the buried treasures. The Rubik's Cube. And as you will see, it is unsolved. Okay, the next iconic toy from the 1980s, the buried treasure. E.T. doll. E.T. is one of my favorite movies. And the most iconic toy of the 1980s, and one of the buried treasures, the Cabbage Patch Kid. Okay, that was fun. Okay, in the book, the kids go on a scavenger hunt in downtown Charlottetown. Is that hunt doable? Yes. So if you take the book with you and you're in Charlottetown, and you go to chapter 9, and you can do the scavenger hunt and find all those things in Charlottetown. I had lots of fun making that. And actually 2 readers, Claire and Olivia, they sent me pictures of them doing the scavenger hunt. And I thought that was really cool for them to do that. Okay, next question. Okay, were the Great Potato Wars real? Okay, in the book, Paige does eventually leave the backyard and she gets to tour PEI. And one part of the book is called The Great Potato Wars. And are the Great Potato Wars real? No. But the story is based on something that happened. One time my husband and I were driving in the Annapolis Valley, and we drove by a driveway, and at the end of the driveway was an artillery shell. And I was like, why is that there at the end of a driveway? And my husband, who likes to play jokes, he said, oh, that's from the Great Apple Wars. The Great Apple Wars? Yeah, from the 1930s. And I'm like, oh. And then I believed him for like 2 minutes until he started laughing. And then I realized, oh, that's not real. So I thought I would take that little story from real life and put it in my book. And of course, because it's PEI, it had to be the Great Potato Wars. And that's how it made it into the book. Okay, so the next question. Are the lion statues who wear hats and other fashion accessories real? Okay, so Paige is still touring PEI, and she comes across these lion statues that are dressed up. They're wearing like hats. And she's like, so you may be wondering when you're reading the book, is this real? And yes, if you are in Wheatley River, PEI, you probably will drive by a house, and at the end of the driveway there are 2 lion statues, and the owners like to dress them up in like Anne of Green Gables hats with the braids, or like sunglasses, or like a sou'wester hat. And so if the owners of the house with the lion statues, if they happen to see this, I hope they continue this tradition, because I love it. I love going by there and seeing what are the lions wearing today. Okay, next question. Time Warp Wednesday at the Brackley Drive-In. Is this real? Okay, so the Brackley Drive-In, it's one of my favorite places on PEI, and of course that's real. Do they have a Time Warp Wednesday? As far as I know, they don't. I made that up for the book. But they show new movies. But this summer it may feel like a time warp because of the pandemic. Ugh. Okay, next question. Is there a wood carving mailbox on Portage Road on PEI? Yes, if you drive on Portage Road, it's located between Brackley Beach and Oysterbed Bridge. You'll come across this mailbox that's made out of wood, and it's very elaborate, and each year it changes. Like in the past, it's been a baseball player, a golf player, and they're holding like the mailbox. And as I'm driving along on Portage Road, I'm like, is that a man by the side of the road holding a mailbox? Because it looks so lifelike. And I hope they continue this, though it does give me a fright sometimes. Okay, the Pondering Pumpkin Restaurant, real or not real? Well, not exactly real. A few years ago, when in the book, Paige is touring PEI, and they stop at a restaurant that's a garage that's turned into a restaurant, and it's called the Pondering Pumpkin. And a few years ago, there was a restaurant called The Thoughtful Squash in Mount Stewart, and we used to have trouble remembering the name, and so that's kind of like an inside joke, so I changed it to the Pondering Pumpkin in the book. It's no longer, the Thoughtful Squash is no longer there. It's now Lori's Country Kitchen, and it's a cool place. It's like a garage turned into a restaurant. It's pretty cool. Okay, and then the last question. The Snoopy burn, real or not real? The Snoopy burn is real. When Paige is touring PEI, she's driving in Brackley Beach, and there is a burn that looks like Snoopy. It's set into the hill, and it's white and black, and it looks like Snoopy. And I thought I'll put that little detail in the book, and if you happen to be in Brackley Beach, you'll probably notice it. It's at Murray Hill Farm. I think it's pretty cool. Okay, so that's all the questions for now. If you have questions, please feel free to get in contact with me, and I'll be happy to answer them. And so carpe diem, and stay safe, everybody.